Hey folks, Dreaming Crow here, doing another book comparison for you, really quick. Just before we get into the topic of the two books that I'm comparing, if you are a subscriber to my channel, I appreciate that very much. Thank you for subscribing. If you do like the content of the material that I'm putting out, please hit that like button down below and leave any comments, positive or negative. Anything that you can tell me will help me improve my channel greatly. Okay, and if you want to share that, of course, hit that share button down below as well. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the comparison here. So really quick, I'm going to be comparing the two books, Demons of Magick, 3 Practical Rituals for Working with the 72 Demons by Gordon Winterfield, versus the Goetia Pathworking, Magickal Results from the 72 Demons by Corwin Hargrove, and that's the book here. Demons of Magick, I've already done a comparison on that with another book, and so I'm probably not going to get into too much detail regarding Demons of Magick. This is probably going to focus a little bit more on this book. As we know, that is like one of my go-to books as far as like working with the 72 Demons of the Goetia. But this book kind of gave me a little more information, a little different way of working with the 72 demons, and I'm just going to go ahead and get into that really quick. But if you are new to the practice of magic, and say you're just starting out and you don't know what the Goetia is, and some people don't, the Goetia really is a practice that includes the conjuration of demons, or some people refer to them as jinns in the particular book. But specifically the one summoned by the biblical figure King Solomon. Okay, the title of the book mainly comes from the English translation of the 17th century grimoire from the Lesser Key of Solomon, and that first book within the Lesser Key of Solomon was termed the Ars Goetia. Okay. That book contains descriptions on the 72 demons, as well as what their powers and abilities are, instructions on performing the evocations of summoning the 72 demons. It was S.L. McGregor Mathers that actually translated this book from Latin to English, and then was published by Aleister Crowley in 1914 as the Book of the Goetia of Solomon the King. Okay, so today the Goetia, in my opinion, is probably one of the most popular, not most popular really, I kind of lost my thought there, but probably the most popular published book, I should say. A lot of people, for whatever reason, seem to go to this particular book to rewrite and republish, and I mean, like in the last century, this book has probably been republished dozens and dozens of times through various authors. I know myself, I probably own 7 or 8 copies of the Goetia just from different authors over the years. Each one seems to have a little bit of slightly different information or description to the demon or their abilities, or something is added or taken away from each of those books. So, for me, just having multiple copies gives a different perspective in a sense. Okay, I'm not saying you need to own that many copies or more or less. Just again, me being like a book hog and practitioner, I just have multiple and many books in my personal library. So the book Goetia Pathworking, Magickal Results from the 72 Demons, was first published earlier this year by Corwin Hargrove. I believe that was maybe around February or March of this year, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, I purchased the book as a means to basically explore the use of the 72 demons in a different manner than what I was used to in practicing the Demons of Magick by Gordon Winterfield. The information he presents in his books was, is very useful, and I've always gotten great results from using that particular book. But there's nothing wrong with researching new methods, especially when working with the 72 demons. And as he often say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But as a chaos magician, employing new techniques or learning new techniques is kind of just what we do. You never stop learning. You never stop looking for new techniques in order to help you out with your practices. So the techniques in the book require the practitioner to cast a very simplified elemental circle, okay, before conducting the pathworking. Once that is complete, the student then calls forth the demon through the use of evocation keys provided in the book. So basically, each line of the evocation key is read aloud or silently, and then as each line is read, you visualize intensely, that imagery. Okay, once that imagery is visualized, that feeling or imagery, you basically breathe that out of your body onto the demon sigil. Now, you could either use the sigil in the book that is provided by the author, or, if you want, if you're a little more like me, you like to draw your own sigil out so you can actually hold it a little better in your hand. Again, just up to you, however you want to go about doing it. But finally, as you do that with each imagery, when you get finished, you basically speak the request to the demon, and then you call the demon's name 3 times, and then give them a license to depart at that point. It's a very simplified process. There's not much involved. You can pretty much do one of these rituals in 10 minutes at the most, 5 minutes. If your visualization is really good, you could probably just go through it really quick and get it done. Just depends on your own personal skills and level of experience. So some of you might be asking what an evocation key is. The way that I describe it is, it's kind of like what I like to call a waking meditation in a sense. It involves you visualizing imagery that is connected to the demon in some way. Some people like to see it as the evocation key as a place that the demon resides within their plane of existence. So really quick, for instance, in the book Goetia Pathworking, Mr. Hargrove says that for instance, we'll go with the 7th demon, Ammon. Okay, the evocation key would be a white dog, its fur wet with blood, the sound of wind rushing through bare trees, the smell of burnt hair. A white sky becomes blue as the white sun rises. So, again, if you were reading this evocation key and you were working with Ammon, the 7th demon in the book, you would first visualize a white dog, its fur wet with blood. You would, see that, you would visualize it intensely, and then you breathe that out onto the demon's sigil. Each time that you breathe the evocation key out, you're bringing yourself closer to the demon. One thing that people like to say about pathworking is it's easier for you to travel to the demon using evocation keys and connecting to the demon in that sense, as opposed to you calling the demon to you on this physical plane. Okay, so that's kind of the idea of pathworking is, working with the demon in that sense. And a lot of people like to say that working with the demon in this sense is a little bit easier. They're not as, say, aggressive, and they're a little more pleasing to work with. Okay, now in Demons of Magick, however, if you look at it, Gordon Winterfield has this evocation key for Amon, and it reads, a dark, glossy black smeared with darkest purple. There is a sound like a roaring fire and the smell of wet fur. There is a sensation of blistering on the fingers and a taste of burnt sugar. So, I mean, who really has the right evocation key here? That's maybe hard to tell. I'm not going to judge by either one. I've had personal experience using both the evocation keys found in the Goetia Pathworking, as well as those in Demons of Magick. So, it's kind of hard to say, to put a finger on, who's right and which one should you choose. However, I will say that, in Demons of Magick, when it came to me doing a ritual, I never really had to add additional elements to make the ritual work. Everything was there already. The invocation, the pronunciation, the sigil, and all that. It all worked. It didn't require anything in addition. Excuse me. However, I will say that other than a few noticeable differences to the sigils between Gordon Winterfield and Corwin Hargrove, I did have to add, or I didn't have to add, but I added additional elements myself to working with Goetia Pathworking. I'm not saying that you have to do this. Your experience with this book may be quite different from, what I experienced. But what I had done was I included the burning of stick incense associated with that particular demon to enhance my contact with them, as well as using the the demon's N, in order to, again, increase and facilitate contact with them. And in case if you're wondering where did I get that information from, well, we have the Demonology Goetia by Stephanie Connolly. This is, a very basic book. It's sorry, probably not the correct term to use. It's one of my reference books I go to if I need information about a Goetia spirit or something that I don't have in one of my other books. This is usually the book that I go to get that information. Okay, so by adding the burning of stick incense and the demon's N during the invocation process, it did help me out to connect with that spirit a lot easier. Okay, again, I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm just saying that, again, I'm a chaos magician, and I'll start with the basic format of something. If I seem to get stuck, or I feel like there is an element missing that I think should be used, I'm going to go ahead and I might throw that element in there. So that's what I had done from my personal experience. So when it comes to using the materials, it doesn't, the materials or either of the books, at this point, I really don't think that it matters. But, again, I'm not saying that you have to do this. I'm just saying that, if I need information about a Goetia spirit or something that I don't have in one of my other books. This is, one of my reference books I go to if I need information about a Goetia spirit or something that I don't have in one of my other books. So that's what I really don't think that it matters. yes, if you use Demons of Magic, your ritual is going to be a little more prolonged. I could probably do one of those rituals in about 10 minutes as well. It's going to require a little bit more, but again, you know, it's you still get your results, which is great. You know, does this mean that you should avoid purchasing Goetia Pathworking altogether? No, not at all. Okay, folks. You know, again, as a chaos magician, and you know, as someone that, you know, as a member of the occult community, again, testing techniques and new methods is just what we do. You know, the practice of magic is really just a personal art form, and you know, the material that I practice with, you know, if I gave that to another magician, you know, nobody's really going to practice the same material the exact same way. Okay, this is why the practice of magic is very personal. It's, you know, the main principles is that we, as adepts and veterans of the magical arts, pass on to the new students and the new practitioners is that, you know, magical systems aren't an end all. Okay, they're simply a guideline. Okay, when you start out your practice, you're going to have maybe a system in your hand, say draconian magic or something like that, or something completely different, and then that system is going to be a guideline for you. It's going to be you as an initiate and as a student to fill gaps in along the way, find out what works for you, find out new techniques, or even create new techniques that, you know, work for you in your practice, that, you know, helps you to define yourself as a person and as a practitioner of the magical arts. Okay, if you look at a lot of these older systems of magic, they place so many restrictions and so many guards in them that, you know, for would-be magicians at the time, that they, you know, had to make sense of it all. And in many of those cases, those restrictions and guards were simply put into place to keep people who were not serious about practicing magic, or people that were just dabblers, to even, you know, keep them from attempting the rituals, you know, hoping that that person would just simply lose interest or say, hey, this is a waste of time, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore. That's gonna define who's serious about practicing and who isn't. Again, and I've said this in a couple of my other videos before, if practicing magic, whether it's draconian magic or chaos magic or Wicca or anything else, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Okay, and the fact that not everybody is doing it simply, you know, shows that, you know, not everybody is ready for it, or that there are people, you know, that aren't going to be ready for it or even able to accept it. Okay, so over time, we see that, you know, as a society, we've seen these trends come and go, that we see these phases of, you know, minimalizing. Again, you could kind of think of the Goetia Pathworking book as a form of minimalizing, or chaos magic as a form of minimalizing. But, you know, we see this in our society. You know, we're getting smaller homes, we're getting smaller cars, we're, you know, reducing our resources and whatnot. And so, you know, people in the magical community are following through with that process as well. We're basically, you know, stripping away elements of rituals that really may not be, you know, necessary, but we still want to keep the ritual process simple enough to still get measurable results. And again, you know, one of the, you know, reasons for the Goetia Pathworking, it's a very simplified system. You know, anybody could go ahead and do it. You just gotta go ahead and follow the process. So, really quick, folks, I'm just going to close this out at this point. You know, if you want to obtain either the printed copy or digital version of the Goetia Pathworking or Demons of Magic, you could go to Amazon.com. Also, if you want a copy of the Demonology Goetia by Stephanie Connolly, which I showed briefly here in this video, again, also available at Amazon.com. I believe there's also a digital copy of that one as well. Okay, if you want to know a little bit more about Gordon Winterfield and the Gallery of Magic and the books that they put out, there will be a link in the description below to galleryofmagic.com. Go ahead and click on that, follow through, and take a look at the information they have there as well. With that, folks, I'm just going to go ahead and bid you a fond farewell. You have a great day, peace, and infernal blessings. Goodbye.